Europe ruled it illegal, but police in Britain continue to stop and search people whenever and wherever they like, with little grounds for suspicion. And the area of society which finds itself most often targeted believes there is only one reason for it. The police are institutionally racist. RT's Ivor Bennett investigates.
This is supposed to prevent terrorism. Police in Britain have free rein to stop and search anyone they deem suspicious. But what constitutes suspicious is hugely controversial. Most stopped are young black men, and police still can't escape accusations of racism, even from inside Parliament.
Police will argue that it's because the people they're typically looking for come from particular socioeconomic backgrounds. That starts to look very much like racial profiling. And it's certainly true that these people are often massively disproportionately stopped.
All the boys at this youth club in North London have been stopped and searched, some on several occasions, all for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they say for having the wrong skin colour.
We got stopped because we were in a type of car, a certain type of car. So when they stopped us, they explained it. It was like, this type of car has been used in recent attacks, gang attacks and things like that. That was their explanation for stopping the car.
And in reality, what was the case?
4 black boys in the car.
I think it's mostly to do with stereotype. I think it's a stereotype because they see me in tracksuits or the colour skin people I'm with. They just thought, oh, you know what, let's just stop these lads and see what they got.
Stabbings are frequent in this part of London. Carte blanche for police to stop and search whoever they want. It can be in public, sometimes physical, poorly explained, and often humiliating.
It's embarrassing. It was in the middle of the street, so I found that highly embarrassing. That everyone was just looking when they went past in their car and just things like that on the bus. It's embarrassing. I don't like it at all.
When the law came into force in 2001, police didn't even need a reason to stop and search. Europe finally ruled this illegal early last year, forcing concessions from the government. Since then, stop and searches have decreased by 90%, but problems still exist. In theory, there are strict limitations to stop and search. The powers can only be used in a specific area for 14 days. Before, it was 28. But in practice, all that means nothing. The powers can simply be renewed on expiry, which is why the whole of London has been a stop and search zone for the last 10 years. Police now don't even need to record the suspect's name, any injury they suffer, or the outcome of a search. The government says it'll reduce paperwork, but it leaves it wide open for repeat targeting and physical abuse. Kyle runs the youth centre. He too's been stopped repeatedly. Suspects are entitled to a receipt, but few know this, and Kyle says police are often reluctant to make any record.
Most stop and searches, they kind of like try and refuse to give you the actual slip. And they say, I've heard excuses as, we don't have notepads, we have to go to the station to get it. And if I still stand there and still argue the case, someone has a notepad and can give me a form at the end of it. So I do think they do target young people. Police used to have similar powers in the 1980s, but they were scrapped after racial targeting provoked massive riots. Some saw the August riots as history repeating itself.
But one of the things that caused it was policing, the way the police talked to them, the overuse of stop and search, and a sense that the police are certainly institutionally against young urban people and probably institutionally racist as well.
85% of rioters cited anger at police as their reason for violence in a recent study by the Guardian newspaper, a fact the government can no longer ignore. It's prompted Home Secretary Theresa May to launch a review of how stop and search powers are used. Ivor Bennett, RT, London.